Good morning, everybody. Here we're doing reading through 1 Samuel 15 to 17. And for me, this is probably one of the most significant videos that I'll do. One of the most significant lessons we're going to learn about Saul, King Saul. And this is what's really important to take note of. We see in today's reading that Saul had a problem with following directions, following instructions, following Samuel's instructions. And Samuel was the voice of the Lord, so having problems with following Samuel's instructions meant that Saul had a problem with following the instructions of the Lord. And when there's a problem with following instructions, it usually means there's a problem with recognized authority. So Saul was having a problem here recognizing the Lord's authority. And there's some telltale signs of that. One of them we read this morning when he's being confronted by Samuel about his failure to follow these instructions. Saul is trying to defend himself, and in defending himself, he refers to God as being your God when he was speaking to Samuel. So he didn't say our God, he didn't say my God, but he said to Samuel, your God. Which right there is a big red flag that there's a problem when Saul simply sees Yahweh as being Samuel's God and not his own. But there's an underlying problem that we also discover in Yahweh's response to Samuel concerning, well, it's to Saul. His response was to Saul. It's through Samuel. But he says to Saul, even though you see yourself as insignificant, are you not the king of the tribes? Even though you see yourself as insignificant. That's what we read this morning. Even though you see yourself as insignificant. So right here, and this is why this teaching this morning is probably one of the most important, is because Saul had a problem with identity. He had a problem with identity. Now, when I was growing up, there was often we would talk about the small dog syndrome, because it's a problem when somebody doesn't understand their own significance. So they have to, they act, they put on airs, they have to take on a certain role. A little dog will bark and attack because he doesn't see himself as being significant, so he overcompensates. So there's this overcompensation thing, and Saul is not comfortable in his position. We saw that from the very beginning of when he was anointed as king. He's not comfortable with this position whatsoever, and because of it, he's not acting the way he should be acting. He's not trusting. He's always worried about image. When the army was melting away on him, he was concerned. And he stepped in and did the sacrifice because he was afraid that he was going to lose all of his men. But the Lord could defeat the enemy with one man, let alone a large army. So it wasn't something that he had to worry about. But his image as king was suffering here. And so he stepped into the role of the priest, which he wasn't permitted to do. He didn't understand his position. He didn't understand his relationship with Yahweh. He didn't understand his significance as king. He didn't understand how his actions impacted on the entire nation. This is significant for us because so many of us, there is a huge identity problem in the church. We don't understand who our Lord is, and not understanding who our Lord is, we don't understand who we are. And with such a failure, we fail to walk in the authority that we have. And so we overcompensate in other areas. So we have a small dog syndrome thing going on in the church. when we're overcompensating in areas because we don't understand the significance of who we are. And it's we don't need to. We walk in a boldness, but not in arrogance. Overcompensation is often seen in arrogance. We don't have to walk in an arrogance. We have a boldness, but it's an assured thing. I know who I am. I know who I belong to. I know what the promise is. I know that this is a given. I know that my Father has my back. I know these things, so I never have to walk in any insecurity, and I never have to overcompensate for such insecurities. I'm a son of God. I'm a child of God. I'm a citizen of the kingdom. And that means something. I've been called, I've been set aside for his purpose. It doesn't come with arrogance, but it does come with boldness that I can step into storms and quiet those storms. I can step into all kinds of situations, into the enemy's camp, and have no fear and anxiety, but walk with an air of peace. That's who we are. Just spend some time today thinking about that. Do you know who you are? Do you know who you are? Do you understand your identity? You guys be blessed today. Be encouraged. I love you. I love that you guys are going after this stuff. And sometimes it will cost us personally in going after this, but it's well worth it. God bless.